Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen, Alyx King, and Kelly Pretty here. Today is Wednesday, February the 13th, 2019. It's 8 a.m. in New York, 5 a.m. in Los Angeles, 1 p.m. in London, and Sydney, Australia is at 12 noon, or 12 midnight rather, excuse me. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of LOA Today. Your daily dose of happy, and we're happy to be on this podcast at all because all of us were having difficulties this morning. So that's a big improvement right there. I mean, I got up this morning after being awakened by my wife because I slept through my alarm, and I haven't done that in probably 20 years, so that was kind of a novel thing. Went to check my computer to get things started and found that the sound wasn't working, so I had to fix the sound. Meanwhile, Kelly's trying to log in from London, and she's finding that she's having problems at her end. Alyx is waking up and not feeling her best, so she has to go off to get I mean, this has been a morning. We barely got this thing started. Oh, my goodness.
It's been a challenging morning, but,
it certainly has.
Fine.
It certainly has. Hey, but we're all here, and that's the main thing. That's the good thing.
Exactly.
And we're here one day early celebrating Valentine's Day, making that a topic today, which is a good idea. I like that. That was something you mentioned to me yesterday, Alyx, and I thought that was really good. Because it's the time of year to talk about relationships and how the law of attraction impacts them and how we deal with them and what we do when we don't have the one that we want. Because that's all those things are important. So, first of all, I haven't given Kelly a chance to say anything yet. So, hi, Kelly. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. So, I don't know if it's me, but can you hear me okay?
I hear your sound kind of going in and out a little bit there. So, there may be a little bit of a connection issue going on, but hopefully that will iron itself out. But yes, we can. When it comes through just fine.
Okay, because that's how I'm finding it with you guys as well. So I wasn't sure if that was me or you.
Yeah, it's probably.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's probably at your end, but it sounds like it's ironing itself out, which can often happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the main thing. So how have you been? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's been good. I don't really know what to tell you. I have been out and about, I guess. I was in London yesterday, so that was nice. I don't get to go there very often with work, and yeah, just been super busy, so that's good.
We have a listener.
Had a good week.
We have a listener who is logged on to the live stream named Simon, who says that it's cold here in Lincoln, England. Is it cold where you are?
Yeah, it's quite cold. It's sunny though and dry, which is nice.
Okay.
I don't think Lincoln's that warm for me.
Oh, okay. I
don't know.
Well, you know better than I do. I really have no idea. I can tell you what stuff is in the States. After that, I'm kind of lost. But anyway, we're talking about relationships. Oh no, sorry.
No, on you go. Talk about relationships.
Yeah, we're here to talk about relationships today, and a couple thoughts come to my mind. First, that it is Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day can be a good day if you're having a good relationship. That can be a great day. If you're not in a relationship or your relationship isn't going well, then it's not a nice day, and that could be the challenge because we're dealing with the day that is devoted to love, to expressing love. And if you're not in that good place for whatever reason, that can be a difficult thing. So I'm going to go to the relationship first. And Kelly, ask you to talk about what are the general strategies to deal with when you're not feeling it? Maybe because you don't have that special someone in your life. Maybe because the special someone you have, things aren't working well. What's the best strategy for dealing with it?
I mean, when I was single, I think the best strategy is remember that, like, even if you're in a relationship or even if you're single, it's quite a commercial thing, right? It's not really, it's important to use it to show your loved one that you love them. But I also think that there's quite a lot of commercialism involved as well, where, companies and shops are trying to make a lot of money. So when I was single, I was about taking a step back and reminding myself, like, hold on a minute, is this really really as challenging as I'm making it out to be. Because I used to be really like down on myself on Valentine's Day when I was single. I really didn't enjoy it. And when I started to like be conscious of the thoughts that I was having around it and realizing that actually I probably wasn't helping myself by being so negative and really dreading it and really like going into that place of anxiety, then I knew that I was creating a worse day than it needed to be. After a few years of being single, I kind of got into this place where I was like, right, how can I make this day a fun day? And somebody like messaged me even today saying, happy Valentine's Day,
Yes.
like just making it more about like the love you have for your friends and all of that sort of stuff, I think could really, really help if you're single or if your relationship is maybe not going so well, then just using it as a day to reflect on, right, what is it that is making me unhappy? Where can I try and fix this? And I think just being really on top of your gratitude as well tomorrow is important. Like really focusing on the things that you can be grateful for in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hopefully that is some starting point.
No, that's a good starting point. That's really good. And I agree with you on that. In fact, I kind of overlooked the commercial side of it, but you're right. When I was single for 20 odd years there, I just kept ignoring Valentine's Day. I did everything I could to just block it out and pretend it wasn't there. Just because any reminder of it was painful. It was uncomfortable. And it's just not a pleasant thing. I also like what you alluded to, that we need to spend time taking advantage of the reminder to focus on what we do want. I wish I had known that when I was single, because I never knew about law of attraction any of the time that I was single. I learned about LOA after I got married, and it would have been really helpful if I understood that what I focus on is what I bring into my life. If I had known that, I probably could have gotten married sooner.
Yeah.
But, you learn what you learn. I mean, Alyx is enjoying Valentine's Day this year because of her new relationship. Does it feel different to you this year?
This is my first Valentine's. So I'm very excited.
Does it feel different from last year?
Last year I was celebrating Singles Awareness Day. So yeah, definitely different.
Okay.
But I decided this year for the single people to change it to Single Appreciation Day as opposed to Singles Awareness Day.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, because people should be appreciated no matter what their marital status or their relationship status.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Everyone should be celebrating Valentine's Day no matter what it is.
That's a very good idea. Single Appreciation Day. That's good. The only thing I don't like about that is the acronym, but other than that, it's good.
Well, that's how Singles Awareness Day started, because it was like Valentine's Day is a sad day. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we can come up with words that replace GLAD, that would be good. I don't know how we do that. What would be the equivalent or something related? I don't know. We'll have to give some thoughts to that one. But
yeah, we'll let that marinate.
but I like the idea. I like the idea of appreciating, because appreciation is key. It's important. It's vitally important. And then the other thing I thought we could do today is talk about some of the more popular, shall we say? I'm not sure popular is the right word. The more common issues that people bring up regarding relationships, and see if we can address some of those. And once again, I'm going to go to our relationship expert here, Kelly, and ask you about probably the number one question that appears. And I think I actually heard your answer to this, but we'll do it again for Valentine's Day. How do I get my ex back? Which is, it's all over Facebook, it's all over the internet. How do you get your ex back?
Yeah, that's a big one. A big one. And you want me to answer it?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
I did a post about this week, because one of the videos that I did was about why we have dreams about our exes, whether we're in a relationship or whether we're single. And a lot of the time, especially for single people, they start thinking, oh, well, that's a sign that I'm supposed to be with that person. That's a sign that I miss them and that they're the one for me. And even people that are in relationships, I think, freak out when they dream about their ex and think, oh my God, is that, is that the universe telling me that I still have feelings for that person? And actually, the answer is no. A lot of the time it's to do with your subconscious telling you that you've still got stuff to work on that's related to your past relationship that you might be bringing into the present day. So that could be, relationships with other people, or that could be your current relationship that you have now. If you're in a romantic relationship, and it's often to do with the subconscious blocks that you have going on that you have to work through before you're able to manifest a healthy relationship into your life. So that's why you get shown through your dream state, situations with your ex, because I believe that these people are brought into our lives to teach us, to show us, to help us grow. And we put up with people for a reason, right? And yes, don't get me wrong, there is an odd exception where, you split up from somebody, you go away, you spend a year apart, and both of you grow exponentially on a spiritual level, and then you get back together and it's a perfectly healthy, amazing relationship. But that's quite rare. The majority of the time, somebody comes into your life to help you grow, realize what it is that you want and what you're worth. And then from there, you then go about manifesting somebody who is right for you. So, firstly, I'd ask, the question of why do you want that person back in? Because it's really easy to, remember all the good times or remember the loneliness, thinking about the loneliness feeling that you have right now and thinking that actually, is this just a gap that I'm trying to fill, or is this actually something that, I really miss this person because of these qualities? Because a lot of the time we kind of have rose-tinted glasses when we look at our exes, and when we actually go down and write down all the things that were not good in the relationship, it highlights the reality of why that person wasn't right for us in the first place.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, because very often when we see people who post about wanting to get their ex back, and a question will come up from somebody who's commenting, saying something like, why do you want them back? What's so great about it? They'll start posting the things that are great, and they'll also post the things that they didn't like at all. And so you read it and you say, well, why did you want to go back to them? I don't understand. But clearly, in their mind, in some way, they're discounting that side of it. They're saying, well, that part's there, but it really wasn't all that big of a deal that he was beating me up every day, or whatever it is. Why does that happen? I mean, why do people do it? How do they go that blind? That's the thing.
They can have Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of it's down to self-love. So the actual gap is the gap of connection to self. Is not actually the need for having somebody to fill that gap is so much bigger than the realization that actually I can fill that gap myself by filling myself up, by finding out the things I love in my life, by creating my best life right now without needing that person in my life to fix things for me. And a lot of people, because they're so used to reverting back to that whole needing someone to fix them, then they don't realize it. It's just down to not knowing, oh, this is what I'm doing right now. I didn't even realize I was doing that.
Yeah, that's true. And you also get people focusing on the fact that this other person's issues supposedly are theirs, and that, yes, they treated me bad and all this kind of stuff, but that's really theirs, and I can help them. I can help fix them on that. I can help them to become a better person. In fact, I know that if I get into that relationship, I'll make them a better person. And that's pretty much, that's a death blow right there. Whenever that comes in, right, Alyx?
You shouldn't go into a relationship thinking you need to change something about that person. You should be with that person because of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But so many people get caught into that.
Think how hard it is.
Think how hard what?
Think how hard it is to change ourselves. We're never going to change another person. It's very difficult.
Very true. Yeah. So might work on the easier project, changing ourselves.
Yeah.
It's all about, we were talking about yesterday about being independently happy before you try to make other people happy.
Yes, exactly. Now, when it comes to attracting somebody, you're not in a relationship right now, and you're looking for somebody. One thing that comes up a lot, and it's actually something I've been kind of playing into with Leo, I'm putting together to promote a workshop in my area, is the idea of making lists, making a list of all of the characteristics of that ideal mate. And I was wondering, is that something that you ever suggest in your coaching practice, and what kinds of results do you see from that, Kelly?
Yeah, so I always get people to initially they have a lot of blocks that they have to work on first. So it's very much down to the self-love piece, working on the blocks, any emotional trauma in the body. But once they're at a point where I'm like, right, okay, I feel like this person's ready to start at least thinking about manifesting this person in, then I get them to write down a list of all the traits that they want in somebody. And it's something that I did at the beginning of 2016. And then I met my partner in November of 2016, and just literally writing down a list of like however many traits you want in somebody. And I'm not talking about like physical traits. Yeah, you can put them in if you want, but it's more like generous, kind, loving, affectionate, like things that are really important to you that you really want. And when I look back at that list, when I met my fiance, I literally cried tears of joy because there was every single thing on that list ticked off. It was like incredible. So it really, really works. But the most important part of that is when you look at that list, you have to look at it and go, am I showing up in the world like this? So you look at that list and go, okay, well, I'm looking for somebody who has all their shit together. So have I got all my shit together? And if the answer to that is no, then you're not going to be able to manifest that person in. So we bring in almost like mirror versions of ourselves, which I talked about before. And that doesn't mean that if someone's beating you up, that you're capable of beating somebody else up. But actually by putting up with that behavior, you're beating yourself up anyways. Does that make sense? So it's like reflection on how much self-love and self-worth you have to be able to put up with that behavior. It's 100% the other person's fault. But when they say that that person's a mirror of you, what they are is not a mirror of who you are as a person, a mirror of the things you need to work on in self. So when you write down that list of traits, it's really, really important to look at each of those traits and be like, am I showing up in the world as being kind to all those people around me? Am I showing up in the world as being generous to all the people around me? And if the answer is no, you've still got some work to do before you're ready.
Good points. I like that. And then when it comes to, like you said, you described how your own relationship came, toward the end of the year and beginning of the year, you had made your list, and it was a perfect match. Check, 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 check. That's the other aspect that's interesting. That combined with the fact that it always, I don't know why this is, anytime I hear the stories along those lines, it's the woman who is making the list. I have yet to hear a story from a man saying he made a list of qualities and she matched all the qualities on the list, which is interesting because I know I didn't make such a list in writing. I know I had the qualities in my head, but I didn't actually write them down. And I don't know is it because, I don't know, do women just ask counselors more about it? I don't know what the answer is there. Why is it that women do it more than men? I don't know.
Well, I feel like men are more go with the flow type of people. So I don't think that they're as worried about their body clock, for instance, as women would be. So women would feel the need to actually try and physically do something about it, try and fix their situation. Whereas men would probably be a bit more inclined to just let it happen how it's supposed to happen. Not that you're not supposed to do those things. I just mean like,
right.
Yeah, like not necessarily take the action. Because a lot of men, I have known a man who's done that, by the way. He was a coach,
really?
though. So, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that he did that and he met his soulmate through doing that. So, I think there are probably more men than we realize that have done that.
That could be. Okay. Well, that's encouraging. I'm glad to hear it. I just it's something I'd never heard before. I've heard, I don't know how many stories of women who had made lists. I mean, literally dozens and dozens of stories like that. But it occurred to me I had never heard one with a man, so I thought I'd mention that part. But well, Alyx, you did it. You talked about how you and Mike came together after you made your list, and it was check, 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 right?
Yeah, pretty much. But I did the same thing you did. I made my list mentally.
Oh, you
I
did?
didn't make a list. Well, no, actually, no, because technically on my dating app bio, the list was on there.
Okay.
So,
well, that's
yeah,
a list.
I guess. Yeah, technically I did do that. So.
Well, okay, I've never seen a dating app. I've never had a need for it because I was married by the time they came along. But
right, lucky.
I mean, you can tell me because you've seen profiles and so forth. Do men tend to itemize the things they're looking for on their apps?
No, they usually put who they are on their apps. And that's why I decided to go a different route with my bio. I was like, no, let me tell you what I want, what I don't want, so you don't bother me if you're not on the list.
Okay, well, there's a clue in there.
Wow.
There's a clue in there. The clue to me, that's a big clue. That clue says to me, guys, you got to make your list. You got to put the list on the app. If you don't put out there what it is you're looking for, you're not going to find her.
Yeah, you're going to get anything.
That's right. Well, you'll get something. It's just not what you're looking for.
Well, that's what I mean. That you're going to get anything. Like,
yeah, anything. Right. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's the other thing. We had this conversation one time, Alyx, you, me, and Carlos, when he was doing the show with us about dating apps and how I remember asking the question pretty vividly, like, okay, well, sounds great, but how do you get to know somebody through text messages? And I remember your response vividly. You said, yes, that you get it. That's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah. That is our world today. Nobody calls anymore. Everybody likes to text message, which is fine. But I'm still old school. I like to hear your voice because I don't know, like you react to certain sounds differently. So if your voice is like, if you sound like Pee Wee Herman, it's not going to work out for me. I just think.
Oh, poor Pee Wee. Oh, that's funny. And actually, that is what happened with you, isn't it? Because when Mike contacted you, what was it he said?
He said, I don't like to text. Can I call you?
Yeah.
And I said,
Oh.
yeah. I said, well, it depends. What are your intentions with me? And he said, to buy you flowers and treat you right. And I said, okay, you can have my number. Actually, what I said was, IES, yes. Okay, that's what I said.
I love it.
And so I gave him my number, and then when I first heard his voice, I was like, oh my God, so dreamy.
That's fabulous.
He's just got one of those voices, like he could tell me I'm like, tell me a story, tell me about your life. Like, I just want to sit here and listen.
That is funny. Actually, that's not all that dissimilar to the story that Louise and I had because obviously we were pre-dating apps, so we couldn't use that method. And we were introduced to each other by a mutual friend. And on my side, I was actually reluctant because I had been through such a series of failures that I had literally quit. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to even try.
Yeah.
I was so pained by all the experiences. I just didn't want to even talk to anybody. But my friend convinced me to call Louise. Louise had asked her if she knew anybody who fit the criteria she was looking for. So I called her up, and that first day we spent 2 hours on the phone. And Louise afterward told me that one of the main reasons that she stayed on the phone with me was what you just said. She liked the sound of my voice. She liked the way I sounded on the phone. And from my perspective, it was like, well, 2 hours isn't bad. That's pretty good. But I wasn't convinced yet. I mean, I was still wrapped up in relationships don't work. They never come into my realm. It never works out for me. So the next week, same day, I called again, and another conversation. And my belief went up a little bit, just a little bit. I was nowhere near convinced yet, but it was a little bit better because 2-hour conversations, that's pretty good, And then we did it for the third week. The third week, there was another 2-hour conversation. So I saw the pattern emerging. 2 hours every time we talked, okay, well, that's something, you know. Meanwhile, Louise was getting very, very interested. I didn't realize that at the time. I, obviously find that out later on. But I said, okay, well, why don't we try meeting sometime? Because as it turned out, we lived about 3 miles apart. And not only were we 3 miles apart, but we were both on hilltops, so we could literally have looked out of our windows and seen each other. But we just didn't even know the other person was there.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we met at a restaurant halfway between us, and it was an absolute disaster. It was terrible. It was not a good meeting at all. She came with this, she was wearing this straw hat because she thought it would be kind of fun and quirky to wear the straw hat, and I thought it made her look like a hick. So that was not a good first impression. And then for the entire time where she was looking down at the table instead of looking at me, so I didn't even know what color eyes she had. And
whoa, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, well, that's what happened here. And we walked out of the restaurant, and I'm not the kind of guy who will tell you I'll call you unless it's really, really true. So I said, well, thank you very much, and good luck. And I didn't know what to say because I really didn't think I was going to call her. I thought that was it.
Not good luck.
I still can't remember exactly what I said, but it was not, I will call you. It was something else. It was a little bit more polite than that. And then that same night, there was a party being held by the woman who had introduced us to each other. Because her birthday and my birthday and another woman's birthday were all within a few days of each other. So this was like a giant birthday party for all of us. And we had all these friends coming and so forth. So I went to that party that night, and Deborah asked me, so how did the meeting go? And I said, not so good. It really wasn't very good at all. And she said to me, well, you are going to give it the 3-date rule, right? And I said, what? I don't know what you're talking about. She says the 3-date rule. That's where you give it 3 dates before you make a decision. And I said, oh, no, really? This is not good. But ultimately...
Ironically, that's my TV rule.
Is it really 3-date rule or three?
Yeah, I give
rule?
Every show 3 episodes before I cancel it.
Okay. Well, you're very generous with your TV shows, I have to say. But she talked me into it. I finally did give it the 3-date rule. And meanwhile, Louise is calling her best friend because I'm 6'8" tall. So I'm pretty tall. We're more than a foot taller than she is. And she's calling her friend saying, he's great, but he's tall. I mean, how will we ever fit together? This isn't going to work. This can't possibly work. And her friend said, well, what else is wrong with him? She said, well, nothing. It's just that he's too tall. And Leona says, well, if that's the only thing holding you apart, you're an idiot. Don't let that get in the way.
Yeah.
And so it was after we did a few other dates, and the dates got progressively a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And finally, a month later, we were actually together. But it was not the ideal path to get there. It took some patience on both of our parts to get past our own stuff while we're getting closer and closer. So it is always that magic flash, like, oh wow, instant attraction, instant chemistry. It doesn't always work that way, is what my point is.
No, it definitely doesn't.
Yeah. Do you run into that a lot, Kelly?
I think it just depends. I find that really interesting because I feel like in some way there might have been some self-sabotage on your part, Walt. Because,
no, not some. A lot. Like tons of. Like I had for years been convincing myself. Literally, I didn't realize I was doing this. But for years I had been telling myself subconsciously, whenever I met a woman, before I'd even had my first sentence of conversation, this can't work.
Great way to start a relationship.
Yeah. So of course, every time it didn't work. So yeah, more than just a little bit, Kelly. Just a little more than a little bit.
Yeah, I think people just meet in different ways. Like sometimes it is like total like, wow, this is it. Me and my partner had that on our first date. Mm-hmm. We knew straight away. But for other people, it's not like that. Like, it just really depends on what age we're at in our journey, I think, in our life. Mm-hmm. So we had so many synchronicities that I just knew even before we went on our date, I knew it was like he was going to be significant in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Steve Rawl, who his first show was the same one that you did. You and he joined Joel on that first day, and he also had a similar experience to me in that when he met his partner, they didn't have that kind of connection. They still had their own issues to work out, but they maintained contact. And one day they realized that this thing's kind of working. Like there's something right going on here, and that was a realization. Something actually good going on here, and it was not part of their normal experience. And very shortly after that, they got married. So they figured it out. They said, "Well, we're not going to lose this opportunity," but it took a while, you know. So I guess it's different for every person. I guess every relationship's different.
Yeah.
I mean, how quick is it for you? Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. Go ahead.
That sounds like quite a masculine trait, I feel like.
What do you mean?
Like, what you and Steve were both very much like, oh yeah, you know, like not so sure initially, and then it kind of, you were like, oh, it's working out. Whereas women tend to think about like 10 million steps ahead from like the first day. They're thinking already about what their surname is going to be. Do you know what I mean? Like when they're married. So it's quite like a masculine thing for men to be, is fear. Again, it comes from fear. It comes from self-sabotage. But then on the women's part, it's the same thing. It's self-sabotage of like needing it to work. So on both parts, there's things that we need to work on, but it's quite normal for that dynamic to occur in male-female relationships.
That's interesting. Well, I remember Louise very quickly deciding that she wanted it to be a permanent relationship. She was talking marriage after we had been really together for about a month. And for me, it was like, whoa, slow down. I'm not sure yet. I got to know. I mean, that's not against the idea, but I want to have a little time here, please. But yeah, I understand that part of it. I didn't realize that she was trying to decide about the surname. And to be perfectly honest, when she decided to take my name, I was shocked. Because
really?
I was. Because my generation, I grew up with, you know, lots of people I knew my age where it was a hyphenated name. I mean, that was the norm. Or in some cases, not even changing the name at all. So when she said she was going to take my name, which is kind of, I thought it was kind of, well, first of all, I loved it. To me, that was like the ultimate compliment. But I thought it was kind of strange because she went from a very simple name, Cohen, to a longer, more complex name, Thiessen, which is harder to spell. But she was willing to do it. I said, wow, okay, well, thank you. I don't know what else to say. So I was kind of surprised by it. I mean, do you run into that, Kelly? I mean, I don't know what the surname situation is in England, so tell me.
It just depends. Like some people will double barrel their names. Some people will take their partner's name. Some people will keep their maiden name. So it just really depends. And for me, it's quite like I'm obviously going to get married to my partner, and then it's a bit of a weird one for me because I feel like there's so much. I've got a bond affinity with my surname. Like it's just very. I used to hate it. I hated it my whole life. But
really?
Then when you get older, yeah, I hated it because I got bullied because of it, and like I just didn't like my surname at all. And then as I got older, I started to become quite attached to it. And when my dad passed away in particular, because he's obviously is his surname, it made me feel like more connected to him. So I feel weird about giving up my surname, but I think I probably will. My partner's surname's King, so it's quite a nice one, Kelly
Hey!
King.
That's awesome. I love that.
Welcome to the group.
Yeah. So yeah. I think I might keep it.
That's interesting, though,
King.
because, I mean, when I saw your surname, Kelly, you know what my first reaction was? I wondered if that was your stage name. I didn't.
Me too. Yeah. I did too.
It didn't occur to me it would actually be your given name. That's
that
funny.
would be really arrogant, though, wouldn't it?
Well, I suppose it would. But well, either that or else extremely self-confident, one or the other.
Yeah, I have to kind of say to people, usually that no, it's my real name. I didn't choose it. My brother's got the same name as me, so obviously not first name. That would be a bit confusing.
That would actually be much more of a burden for a boy than for a girl, I would think.
Yeah, he pulls it off. He quite likes it. I feel like girls like it. So he's single in LA, so he's not complaining.
Ah, okay. Well, that's true. I guess as you get older, it becomes more of a benefit, doesn't it? Never occurred to me that would be the case, but yeah, I guess so. Sure. I remember the first time my wife suggested to me that there was a particular shirt she saw that we were shopping one time. And of course, in general, for me, it's hard to find anything in a store because nothing fits me. But this was a shirt that was designed to have the sleeves rolled up, so I didn't have to worry about sleeve length. It was a very multicolored shirt, and she really liked it on me. And I looked at it, and I didn't understand why she liked it on me. To me, I thought it just looked kind of brash or whatever. But at the time, I think I was doing job interviews or something. I don't remember exactly what, but something where I needed to be able to meet people, and in many cases, females in some sort of position of something that I needed from them, right? And she said, "Oh, wear that shirt. Just wear that shirt. You will break the ice so easily with that shirt." And I said, "Really? No kidding?" Well, apparently it worked. I can tell you that much. It definitely had an impact, and I didn't know it. It just never occurred to me. So until you said just now, Kelly, that your brother actually found it to be a benefit to have the last name Pretty, and that girls were reacting to that positively, that would not have occurred to me. But I get it for the same reason that the multicolored shirt worked the same way. Mm-hmm. I mean,
what kind of shirt was it?
Oh, it was a... how do you describe it? It was like in different panels, and each panel was a different color. I still have the shirt. It's in my closet. Right. I'll get it out sometime and show it to you guys. The shoulders to arms were blue and white, almost pinstripe. There was like a orange and yellow pattern here, and I mean it was a very bright shirt, very very bright. Much. I mean,
sounds like an awkward shirt.
For a guy who's used to wearing dark colors, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
it sounds like you were dressed like a clown.
Yeah.
That's the way I thought of it. I really did. I did. I got used to seeing myself in the mirror after a while wearing that shirt, but it was a little uncomfortable. I mean, it wasn't actually like a clown shirt, but it had that same kind of meaning for me. So it took a while for me to wear that shirt. But I did, not too often. It's still in the closet. You know, if Louise is feeling really, really down, I'll get it out and put it on. That makes her cheery. But yeah, I don't wear that one too often. So, Alyx, when you were meeting somebody, and now of course you're with somebody now, and you're pretty happy with them too. But when you were meeting somebody before, what they wear, did that actually make a difference to you?
Yes.
How so?
Not so much what they wore, but like how they put themselves together. So it didn't really matter what you wore. It's just a matter of like, you know, are you too matchy? Do you iron your shirt? Are you dressed appropriately for what we're doing? You know, which most of the time was sitting on the couch watching TV. So sweatpants are appropriate.
This is true.
But what kind of sweatpants?
What kind of sweatpants?
What kind of sweat? Do they have holes in them?
Do
they have stains on them?
Well, I would think that would be confusing. I still don't understand this style of having blue jeans that have holes in them, and you buy them that way. I don't get that at all.
I have those. I love them.
What's that all about? Because I mean, what?
I don't know. It just looks cool.
Okay.
Listen, multicolored shirt. You can't judge.
I'm not judging. I'm trying to understand. I don't get it. I mean, you just described to me how it's very important what it is that they're wearing, and then here you are going out, you know, wearing jeans with these gigantic holes in them. I'm thinking, okay, what's that about?
It's like back in the 90s when the whole grunge look was a thing. It's like you're supposed to look like you didn't shower.
Talk about mixed messages. I mean, I could just imagine the poor single guy out there trying to make sense out of all of this and saying, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to wear the
No, I'm
grunge
saying
look?
in the 90s you were supposed to look like you didn't shower. I'm definitely not saying that right now.
But they're still buying those pants. I mean, I see women wearing them all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so what's the poor guy supposed to figure out? Is he supposed to say...
I feel like the holes in the pants is a girl thing. I don't appreciate my man having holes in his pants. I don't like it.
Okay. All right. Well, that helps a little bit. So, guys, no holes in the pants. Leave that to the girls.
Yeah.
Still don't quite understand, but okay. Kelly, can you shed some light? What's going on with the holes in the pants thing? I don't get this. Can you explain this? Give us.
I don't know. They're really popular here as well.
I mean, what do you
But
think?
only with women.
Do you think
Exactly.
that it's important for the guy to present well? And if so, how should he understand that whole holes in the pants thing?
I think people should just be themselves, and then the right person will accept them for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Agreed.
We had snow, and there's a snow blower coming through, so I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute. But let's see, what's the next issue? The next issue is you want to meet somebody, you want to attract somebody. So let's walk through the steps. How do you attract somebody using the law of attraction? Now, I'll go to the coach again because you teach this all the time, Kelly. How do you explain it?
Well, the first step that we spoke about is getting really clear on what type of person you want to manifest in. So exactly what you said, writing down all those lists of traits, just how you would manifest anything else in. You want to get a vision board sorted out with like love, couples, all that sort of stuff. Oh, sorry, there you are. I'm in the afternoon and I'm still yawning, even though I haven't had my pasta at 10 p.m. at night.
Well, I feel a little bit better
then,
because Kelly, I actually slept through my alarm this morning, so I can actually identify with still being sleepy.
then you want to have a mantra, have an affirmation as well. So the most important thing is your beliefs around meeting somebody. And if you keep going into a place of, oh, I don't actually believe it, I don't know if it's possible, then you have to have a mantra or something that's going to bring you back to truly believing that on a regular basis. So that could be, for me, it was, I'm in a loving and committed relationship and we're excited about what the future holds. And I'd say it to myself over and over and over again. Every time I walked to work, every time I walked away from the front door of work, walked to my car. And I'd say it every day. And I met my partner 3 months after that when I started doing that. So that's really, really important. And making sure you have the space in your life as well, because if you don't have the space physically for somebody, then the universe won't give them to you. So if you're not making space and time for yourself to do nourishing things, like almost take yourself on a date where you're running a nice bubble bath and you're putting candles on and you're just doing really nice, nourishing things for your soul, then you're basically saying, I'm too busy for that person to come in. So like really making sure you start spending time with yourself and enjoying your own company. So that it's kind of a sign to the universe that you're ready and that you've got the space and time for this person. So there are a few pointers.
That's good. Now, obviously, there aren't going to be too many guys who want to take bubble baths, but what would be the equivalent for a guy to focus on, trying to do in order to make the space? I mean,
Wow.
there may be a few guys who take bubble baths. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's probably not the first choice for a lot of guys.
I know a guy who literally manifested in his soulmate. They're about to get married within 2 weeks. And it's because he's literally an amazing manifester. And he pretended that he'd already met his soulmate before she was in his life. So when the guys asked to meet him at the gym on like a Friday evening, he was like, yeah, sorry lads, can't come out tonight. I'm staying in with the missus. And they were like, what? You don't have a girlfriend? He's like, well, I will in a couple of weeks. And he did.
Wow.
He did it.
Holy
He stayed
cow.
in and he watched like a film by himself, pretending that she was sat beside him.
That's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
I know.
So what's your secret, Alyx? What do you do?
I'm a firm believer into speaking things into existence. So anybody who asked me what I wanted in my life, that's what I would tell them exactly what I was looking for, who I was looking for, and when it was going to happen, and all that great stuff. So yes, I'm a firm believer into speaking things into existence.
What is it about speaking something into an existence that actually does the job, do you think, Kelly? Why is that so effective?
Well, there's so much energy behind the words that we use. So I feel like if Alyx has been speaking into existence, having met somebody, then it's almost like you're matching the universal vibration of already having it and already having that person in your life. So it's almost like faking it before you make it, I suppose. And that's why clarity of what it is that you want is the most important thing, because until you actually know what you want, you can't speak it into existence.
Yes, exactly.
And what if you're somebody who doesn't feel comfortable speaking things like that? Like, oh, this feels too silly. What do you do?
I guess you can do it in private. You don't need to do it out loud to people. You can do it in private, or you can do it in your head, or you can write it down as well. It's a really powerful technique to almost like, I think they call it scripting, where you literally like write out, you know, as if you already have it. Or you can write a letter to yourself 3 months from now as if you're already with your partner and all the emotions that you're feeling, because it's all about emotions and connecting into that emotion of already being with that person. So actually like feeling into those emotions by writing a letter to yourself is a really good way to bring and manifest that person in.
Okay, that's good. What else can we do to make it happen, to bring it in? Is it just mantras, or is there more?
Well, all this kind of regular manifesting stuff, I think. And then what I said before about how are you showing up in the world? Do you have space in your life for that person? Have you got space in your wardrobe for them? Are you connecting in and visualizing every day with having them already in your life? Like meditation for me was huge. Every single day I would meditate, thanking the universe for that person already being here, visualizing them being sat beside me, visualizing how I was going to feel while I was with them. So always connecting into that energy as often as you can is really important.
Anything that you add, Alyx, that you tend to do? Is it all just mantras for you, or do you do more than that?
I was a firm believer in what I saw in The Secret about this woman who purposely would not sleep on a certain side of the bed because she would imagine her mate was there, and she never wore a ring on her engagement finger. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I like those ideas. That's what I'm going to do. So I did those 2 things. So hopefully there'll be a ring on my finger eventually.
Yeah, I have to speak in favor of the ring part, especially because many of us guys have trouble with signals in general, but the one signal we all know to look for is the ring finger. And if you got a ring on the ring finger, you're basically saying stay away, which happened to me a lot. So I stayed away. I actually honored it. And you know, and the interesting thing is, at the time, I was very much involved in a swing dance community and had a lot of female friends, a lot of female dance partners. And then I met Louise and brought her into the community a bit, and she learned how to be a basic step dancer and so forth. And then we got engaged, and I was telling friends that we got engaged, and I was really interested by some of the responses that I got that were nonverbal responses. There were a couple, one woman in particular who I remember being interested in and kind of trying to develop conversations with and so forth, who had given me a number of different signals that she wasn't available. And when I told her that Louise and I were engaged, the look of horror on her face told me she was really attracted to me. It was the first time I knew she was attracted to me. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't you take the ring off?
Right. If you see something, say something.
I didn't understand. Of course, that was par for the course with me. I didn't understand women at all anyway, up until the point that I met Louise. That was actually one of the things I loved about Louise, and I still love about Louise.
That she understands you don't understand?
No, that she understands how to be direct about what she wants.
Yeah, Mike too.
I mean, we still joke about this, but if she wanted a hug, what she does is she does this. She throws her arms apart. You're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I can read that one. Most guys can read that one. You know? She doesn't, she doesn't cut corners or anything. It's like, boom, right there. Well, that actually paid off. It got her me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the games playing part that and Kelly, that was one of the things that really got me a lot. I think it was one of the reasons why I kind of developed that belief that this wasn't going to work either before the relationship had even started, because I'd had so many experiences with game playing, people playing games, and I didn't even I didn't even know that there were games at first. And then when I found out that there were games, I didn't know what the rules were. So I was really, really lost. I had no clue how to play a game. And then I found out what some of the games were, and I would literally spend like a weekend trying to sit at home and understand, first of all, how do you play that game? And second of all, why do they play that game? I don't understand.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason.
Why do people play games?
I guess we've been taught, and men have been taught as well, like, the game, the book, like, oh, you need to act like this and you need to do this to get a husband. And it's all, like, in my opinion, is just not true. Like, all it is, if you're not authentic to you, and a lot of people think, oh, well, I can't be honest because I'll scare that person away. Well, if you scare them away, it doesn't matter because they're not the right person for you. It's just a sign that there's someone else out there who's aligned to you, who's connected to you, is going to come along. And I think that when we play games, we just basically bring in other people who play games as well. And then it just becomes like a real unhealthy place. And when we're able to be authentic to us and just true to ourselves, say what we really think, that's when we're much more likely to bring in people that will do the same. Because it's the game playing thing is just a societal lie that like how you have to act to get somebody. No, you don't. You have to just learn to love yourself, be yourself, believe in yourself, and then all the rest of it will work out.
I remember the one game that I ran into the most that confused the heck out of me was Chase Me, is what I would call it. That's where I'm not available, but chase me.
Oh, playing hard to get?
Hard to get, yeah. And I didn't understand the game at all. I didn't understand how you're supposed to play the game. And it just seemed to me like, well, if your relationship is about being hard to get, why would I want to get into a situation with somebody where the relationship's hard?
Yeah.
I don't know. And that was literally the source of my confusion. Why would I even want to deal with a hard relationship? But I also knew that there were a whole lot of people who were in hard relationships, so I figured, well, I guess some people did. Just not me, that's all.
I feel like if you're playing games like that you purposely don't want to be in a relationship, like you're just you're just a player and you just want to be in a bunch of different situations, so that's the games you play. I
guess I can sort of understand hard to get if you're already in the relationship and it's kind of like a foreplay kind of game that you play. I can kind of see that. But shouldn't you actually be in the relationship first before you start playing the game? Right. I mean, one kind of precedes the other.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm married, and I'm married 20 years this year, and I can tell you quite honestly, I still don't understand the games, and I wish somebody had given me a rule book, but fortunately, I don't have to play games anymore, and that's a good thing.
Thank goodness.
I think that the game playing is just being fed to us as being like, because women think that if I play games, it shows that, I'm not clingy or I don't like him as much as he likes me. And it's just all not true. And it's not the right way to try and bring in an authentic relationship. So yeah, the game playing thing is big. And it's something women really struggle with because we're told that is the way that you get a guy. That is the way you get a guy who's a player. And then as soon as you've fallen for them, they run a mile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's all a game to them. So you've just created a relationship with a game.
So if you have been taught to be a game player and that's what you know about how to get a guy, how do you change your behavior? How do you change the mentality away from being a game player?
I think it comes down to authenticity and just like being you. But a lot of people have got huge blocks in terms of actually being connected in with their truth and who they actually are. They've got like this bravado and this, for women, quite a lot of the time, they can be so in their masculine that they don't even know who they truly are in their nature. So I would start with meditation, because meditation is the one thing that's going to bring you back to actually connecting with your true self. And then the more that you meditate, the more that you're able to kind of connect in with that. And then you start to understand who you truly are and your authenticity. So, once we're able to do that, we can work on the self-love and self-love affirmations. And then it's kind of just a build up from there, but it's not a quick fix. And that's why, like, today I've given you some pointers in terms of manifestation, but manifestation's this small a part of actually manifesting in your partner. There's so much work you need to do on the lead up to it, to release emotional trauma from childhood, to release any blocks that are there around self-love. Because until you've done that, you just bring in people that, and then you self-sabotage, or you bring in people that aren't the right people.
Right.
That makes so much sense, because and Abraham talks about that. If you don't actually work on yourself and you leave one relationship because it's not working out, you're bringing yourself with you, and you get the same relationship the next time around, and so you end up developing that pattern, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't want to do the work. That's the thing. They're too scared to actually look at themselves because they've got a fear around what it is that they're going to find. So a lot of the time when we hide from ourselves, we call that our shadow part of ourselves. It's the things that are like at secret our whole life. Maybe like something that we've done, or something that someone's done to us, or experience that we've had, or thought that we've had, or the way we've treated somebody. And then we hide it from ourselves. We're so scared of looking back at that specific situation, but that's one thing that we need to do to heal ourselves. And actually, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all mess up. Things happen, and sometimes it's really tough. But once we can come to a place of love and acceptance for all the really tough times, and then we realize that's what actually got us to where we are now, that's what actually led us to become the person we are today, that's when real healing starts.
And do you find that when people are facing that difficulty, that, oh, geez, I really don't want to have to go through all that stuff, because it just brings up more stuff. I saw somebody post about that just yesterday, and I responded to her essentially, well, it's perfectly understandable. Now you have a choice. Do you want to continue to experience having that in the background and not getting what you want, or are you willing to actually delve into it? That's the choice you have to make. But that apparently is a tough choice for people to make, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But is it really a tough choice? Because all that happens is the universe just keeps highlighting to us for the rest of our life until we actually face it. You're not going to get away from it. You might get away from it for another 4 years, and then you get another lesson on your doorstep that's shining a light on the part of yourself that you're refusing to look at. And it will continue your whole life. And yeah, you might be able to get through life and not ever look at it, but you'll never be able to create a healthy, long-lasting relationship with another human being. You'll never be able to truly love and accept yourself. And that, to me, is the most important, fundamental thing, is the loving yourself.
And not just relationships, because it's also going to be for your career. It's going to be true there. It's going to be true for manifesting money. It's going to be true for your health. It's going to be true for your friendships, for your family relationships. I mean, they're all going to continue to be the problem.
Yeah. Health is massive. People don't really see the link between self-love and health. Like, the thoughts we have about ourselves actually physically have been scientifically proven to affect our immune system in a positive or negative way.
Right.
So it's so important that we're able to work on this stuff, because, you know, I really believe that, like, cancer and other diseases like that is quite a lot of it's linked to the beliefs that we have around ourselves and the subconscious blocks that we have in place.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, this has been a good conversation, a good discussion. So thank you, ladies. Kelly, before we leave, how does somebody reach out to you if they're looking for a little private coaching? Because obviously you do that for a living, so we should really let people know how to reach you.
Yeah, sure. They can reach out to me. My website's www.kellypretty.me, or they can follow me on Instagram. I'm on there. It's Kelly_pretty, or reach out to me on Facebook. But if you reach out to me on Facebook, make sure to drop me a direct message. That's the best way.
Okay. So a little word to the wise there. That's a good thing. So, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you next week. And Alyx, I'll be talking to you on Friday morning.
Yep.
So thank you all, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.